Hey students, this video is just going to go over the literary movements assignment. The genre presentation for literary movements. And I wanted to just give a little bit more clarification that's going to extend beyond what I did in the previous announcement. So looking here for this presentation assignment, the way that you specifically for your group want to approach this is you really want to think about, there's 3 of you in this group. So Calvin, Jordan, Sheila, with you 3 in this group, you want to kind of pick between what periods you find interesting, which ones you think you want to present on, and then what and how are you going to present. So largely, let me scroll down here and take a step back. What you're going to want to make sure you do is that you keep this presentation roughly in the 4 to 5 minute range, but you can go over, meaning you can decide how to split up these periods any way that you want. You're going to give a 5-minute presentation that you narrate. You can screen record like I am, and where you discuss these the slides in the Prezi itself. So I'm going to click on a couple examples of a Prezi here. So this is from Prezi's website. You can use a regular slideshow if you want. Also, if you prefer, Prezi's a little bit more dynamic, and I generally prefer those for this class. So see, here's sort of an example slide, Prezi. This is what the overview would look like. You'd have examples 1, 2, and 3 in here, but this could be slides on anything like Romanticism, Marxism, and so on. Then you would click on one, it would go in, talk a little bit about that, and you would talk about that over it. And you can always come and click back out and look at the presentation as a whole. I think I have a few more. Here's one, another one, for example, on what is this? I think this is children's literature. So let me go to the beginning. So this is what all the slides look like. And if I wanted to click on a specific slide, I could click on it, or I could also go in order. There's a very specific order that these go in, and so on, if you're not familiar with Prezi. But in general, here's one more. What is this one here? Oh, sorry, here we go. This one's on what is the genre of literature. So you see nonfiction and fiction over here. And again, I could just click on these sections here and go in and look at what I want. So you would make, each of you individually would make a presentation like this. So let's say there would be one presentation on Romanticism, or maybe each of you decide to do 2, or one of you decide to do 2 movements. Let's say one of you decide you want to do Romanticism and New Historicism, and another person wants to focus only on Marxism, and then the third person wants to do sort of an overview of 3 or 4. This is entirely up to you, but there would be 3 presentations that each of you would do on your own, and then you would submit them. But you want to just coordinate the work together so that there's not too much overlap, so we can watch each of them individually. But also, what you want to do for this presentation is kind of brainstorm and think about, how is this going to help your classmates, our class, understand the readings a little bit better. So in that case, it might be useful here on our home page to click on the reading schedule, or you can get to it in course links as well. There's a link to it. But looking at the reading schedule, here are the texts that we're reading. So you might want to do a little bit of research and see how all of these may or may not fit into different literary movements. So let's also then take a look at, this is what everyone in the class has to read, sort of an overview of the literary movements. You can decide, oh, I want to expand on something that was discussed in one of these little paragraphs. Again, this was just a reading to get the whole class kind of grounded a little bit in terms of thinking about the reading. But for your group in general, if you go to, let me go back here to the assignment. If you are in the assignment for your presentations, there is a link here, right? Each of these, and I'll click on these in a moment, each of these come from our Literary Terms and Movements resources page. So if we click on that link, that will bring you to this page. So here's a list of literary terms. Here's some specific poetry terms, drama terms. Then here's a link to literary movements. I don't have everyone. I'm not having the course required to read these, they're just resources, but for you and your group, it might be useful to take a look at these also. So let me click on the Literature Network here, for example, and this gives an overview also of some more. You can see this is where I took those links from, but there's also, let me see, I think there's one of these had a timeline in it. It might be another one, but Oh, right, literary periods timeline. Let me click on that one here. So that one gives you kind of an example. Here's sort of an overview of a timeline of different movements. If you wanted to do something like this in your presentation, do your own timeline, link it to different authors, entirely up to you what you want to do. The requirements are, make sure that this is useful for someone in this class who's doing their readings to give more context to understanding these readings. So the long story short, or the TLDR version, is use this as a baseline, split up the movements, discuss what you want to focus on. If you don't get to all of these, that's fine. If you only get to a few of them, that's fine. If you think there's only 5 really important ones for this class, and let's say one of you want to do sort of a brief overview of the ones that you think are less important, again, up to you. If you want to focus on figures within each movement or why each movement is called each movement, up to you also. You have a lot of freedom and leeway here. Just note that each of you will produce your own 5-minute presentation, and then you want to fill out this team charter and task schedule and let me know what each of you are doing, and then submit that at the assignment. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. We're just at the 6-minute mark. Let me know if you have any other questions, but this should hopefully give you some useful ideas or help clear up some confusion if there is some, and if not, go ahead and email me back.